It seems you can't go a day without seeing an ad on YouTube asking if you've leased or owned a diesel car recently. These ads often promise compensation and urge you to join lawsuits against manufacturers. But what if I told you this seemingly mundane legal campaign is tied to one of the most scandalous corporate deceptions in history? Today, we're diving into the Volkswagen emissions scandal, a story of deceit, billions of dollars, environmental damage, and a corporate giant brought to its knees. Buckle up, because this is not just about cars. It's about trust, greed, and a lie that polluted the world. Volkswagen, or VW, has long been a symbol of German engineering excellence. From the iconic Beetle to the reliable Golf, VW built its reputation on innovation and quality. But by the 2000s, they faced a new challenge: how to stay relevant in an increasingly eco-conscious world. The answer seemed to lie in diesel engines. Compared to their gasoline counterparts, diesel engines were more fuel efficient and produced less CO2, making them a greener choice in the eyes of regulators and consumers. But diesel engines had a dark side. They emitted significantly higher levels of nitrogen oxides, NOx, harmful pollutants linked to smog, respiratory diseases, and even premature death. To sell diesel cars in the United States, a market with some of the strictest emission standards in the world, Volkswagen needed a breakthrough. They claimed to have found it with their clean diesel technology, a revolutionary system that promised high performance, excellent fuel economy, and compliance with tough environmental regulations. Consumers loved it. Volkswagen's diesel cars became a hit, earning green car subsidies and tax breaks. But behind the scenes, something wasn't right. By the mid-2000s, VW engineers faced an uncomfortable truth. Their diesel engines couldn't meet U.S. emission standards without sacrificing performance or fuel efficiency. Instead of admitting defeat or investing in a compliant solution, they made a fateful decision, one that would haunt the company for years to come. They developed a defeat device, a software program embedded in the car's electronic control unit, ECU. The device was designed to cheat emissions tests by switching the engine into a low-performance mode when it detected the car was being tested. Once the test was over, the engine would revert to its normal mode, delivering the power and efficiency that consumers expected, but spewing up to 40 times the legal limit of NOx into the atmosphere. This wasn't a rogue decision. The defeat device became standard in millions of VW and Audi vehicles worldwide, allowing the company to market its cars as clean and green while sidestepping the costly challenge of actually meeting emission standards. Volkswagen's deception was as bold as it was reckless, and for nearly a decade, it worked. Regulators and consumers bought into the lie, and VW's clean diesel cars became a cornerstone of its global strategy. But in 2014, an innocuous emissions test would unravel the entire scheme. In May 2014, the International Council on Clean Transportation, a nonprofit organization, decided to conduct real-world emissions tests on diesel cars sold in the U.S. market. Their goal was simple: to demonstrate how European manufacturers like VW were meeting stricter U.S. standards and encourage similar regulations in Europe. The ICCT partnered with researchers at West Virginia University who tested 3 vehicles: a Volkswagen Jetta, a Volkswagen Passat, and a BMW X5. The results were shocking. While the BMW performed within expectations, the Volkswagens emitted NOx levels up to 40 times higher than the legal limit. At first, the researchers thought their equipment was faulty, but repeated tests confirmed the findings. Something was deeply wrong with Volkswagen's emission systems. The ICCT reported their results to the California Air Resources Board, CARB, and the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, triggering a year-long investigation. Volkswagen's initial response was denial. They blamed technical issues and dismissed the discrepancies as anomalies. But the EPA and CARB weren't buying it. Using owner forms and VW service manuals, they reverse-engineered the car's software and discovered the defeat device, a line of code called acoustic condition that activated the emissions cheating mode during tests. In August 2015, Volkswagen employees met with the EPA, armed with a script approved by senior management. But instead of sticking to the script, they confessed, the company had deliberately programmed its cars to cheat emissions tests. On September 18, 2015, The EPA issued a notice of violation to Volkswagen, accusing the company of installing defeat devices in millions of vehicles. The revelation sent shockwaves through the automotive industry and sparked a media frenzy. Volkswagen's stock plummeted, losing nearly 40% of its value in days. CEO Martin Winterkorn resigned, claiming he was shocked by the scandal and denying personal wrongdoing. But leaked documents and internal investigations suggested that senior executives, including Winterkorn, had been aware of the defeat device for years. The financial costs were staggering. Volkswagen agreed to pay $4.3 billion in criminal and civil penalties in the U.S., the largest ever for an automaker. They set aside $15 billion to buy back affected cars, compensate owners, and invest in environmental projects. Globally, the total cost of fines, settlements, and recalls exceeded $30 billion. But the scandal wasn't just about money, it had devastating environmental and public health consequences. Studies estimated that Volkswagen's excess emissions were responsible for hundreds of premature deaths and thousands of cases of respiratory illness. The Volkswagen emissions scandal didn't just tarnish the company's reputation, it shook the entire automotive industry. Regulators began scrutinizing other manufacturers, uncovering widespread discrepancies between lab-tested emissions and real-world performance. While Volkswagen was the most egregious offender, the scandal revealed systemic issues in how emission standards were enforced. Internally, Volkswagen pledged to rebuild its reputation by pivoting toward electric vehicles and sustainability. They launched an ambitious plan to become a leader in the EV market, investing billions in new technology and promising to phase out internal combustion engines. But critics questioned whether the company could truly atone for its past. The scandal also raised troubling questions about corporate ethics and accountability. How could a company with Volkswagen's resources and reputation engage in such blatant deception? And how many other industries might be hiding similar secrets? Today, the Volkswagen emissions scandal remains a cautionary tale about the dangers of prioritizing profits over ethics. While the company has made strides toward redemption, the shadow of Dieselgate still looms large. Former CEO Martin Winterkorn faces criminal charges in both the US and Germany, though he has yet to stand trial. Other executives have been convicted, and the fallout continues to this day. For consumers, the scandal is a reminder to question corporate claims and demand greater transparency. For regulators, it's a wake-up call to strengthen oversight and close loopholes that companies might exploit. But perhaps the most enduring lesson is this: trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild. Volkswagen's actions didn't just pollute the air, they poisoned the relationship between corporations and the public, and that damage may take far longer to repair. The Volkswagen emissions scandal is a story of ambition gone awry, of a company that was willing to gamble its future on a lie. It's a story of the environmental and human cost of corporate greed, and a stark reminder of the importance of accountability. As Volkswagen looks to the future, the world will be watching. Will they learn from their mistakes, or will history repeat itself? Only time will tell. Thank you for watching this episode of Scandal. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most infamous corporate controversies.